Farrah Abraham says a lot of things, and there's really no reason for like 95% of them. Like sure, she's allowed to say what she wants, it's a free country or whatever. Unfortunately, this seems to be one of those times. We say seems, by the way, because we're talking about a written statement from Farrah, which means that we're barely able to understand it, but from what we can tell, well, it's not good. Okay, so a few days ago, Farrah hopped on Twitter to share some seriously jumbled thoughts. So when we see cultural races that have been on surveys, included in business etc. for decades yet they say they're barely seen and then they limit Muslim women on giving birth, she wrote. Try being Middle Eastern China mental illness should really be spoken about more, she concluded, adding a gif from the 1997 Disney classic, Hercules. When you first read it, it doesn't make a ton of sense, because of course it doesn't. However, we're kind of scholars in the subject of Farrah's bizarre way of speaking at this point, so we think we've got a pretty good grasp of what she's trying to say. It seems like the cultural races she's referring to here are Asian people, considering the huge surge of anti-Asian hate crimes recently and the strong effort to raise awareness about that. So she's saying, we think, that Asian people have been on surveys and included in business for a long time, so it's strange to her that they're complaining about racism. This holds up because there are plenty of reports about our women, who are mostly Muslim, being forced on birth control in China. The China hashtag is also a pretty clear indicator of what she's talking about. If that's true, then she thinks that Asian people should realize that being Middle Eastern is more difficult, because apparently racism is a competition to her. And that last part, horrifically enough, appears to suggest that she thinks Asian people are mentally ill for complaining about racism and hate crimes, and that this issue should be talked about more often. Is there any other way to read her tweet? Because we can't think of any. It's also important to note here that Farrah has a bit of a history of making racist remarks. If she said all of that, then it's really not a stretch to think that she could say something so blatantly racist on Twitter. What do you think about Farrah's statement?